Hello and welcome to my first in what I hope to be a long series of videos for Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer. I've played around 2 hours of multiplayer via EA Early Access, and I thought I'd give my very first impressions of my experience so far. So first off, the gameplay you're watching is with the Krogan Vanguard on Silver difficulty, and yeah, it's not the best you'll see from me, but I am using a Katana and Predator 1, and the movement system does sort of take some getting used to too. Now, with my excuses being out of the way, I've got a few points to make. Some are good, some are bad, and I'll start off with the bad ones so I can end the video on the good ones. The first and most prominent complaint I have is the locational audio. It's just plain broken right now, and it makes it impossible to locate enemies by sound. While you do end up with some hilarious moments in your group, such as these.
It's aggroed on me if y'all want to finish it off. Oh god.
Oh shit, that's the fucking Hydra!
Yeah.
It didn't sound like it was anywhere near
I
me.
got it. Jesus, guys. I know y'all saw it. It's pretty big. Oh,
The Hydra sounds like it's oh fuck, it's there!
It's generally a pain in the ass for the rest of the time. As far as I'm aware though, a fix is being rolled out for this, and to be honest it cannot come soon enough, because in its current state it's just appalling. I mean, it's horrendous. It will get you killed, and it sometimes leaves you running around looking for enemies which aren't actually there. After that, there does seem to be the same issues with netcoding that we've seen in every multiplayer game that's ever been made by BioWare. Off-host, you just get a different experience to while being on-host, with some users reporting terrible latency issues, rubber banding to an unplayable degree, and just general connection issues all around. However, I did host for some friends, 2 of which were on the east coast of the US, and they reported little to no issues whatsoever as far as connections went. Since we're in early access, a lot of people will be playing this when the trial is playable, which is only at 42% of the total download, and they'll be downloading the rest of the game in the background. So this could potentially be a reason as to why there's so many connection issues flying around at the moment. But just to be on the safe side, host your own lobbies, or play with someone who you know has a good internet connection. Generally speaking, that'll ensure you have a relatively good experience. Unfortunately, connection issues will always be one of the downsides of peer-to-peer hosting, but unless BioWare decides to go with dedicated servers, which we all know they probably won't, we'll always have these issues cropping up. And of course, it wouldn't be a BioWare game without some really obscure, unexplainable bugs. I found that you cannot have a human soldier in the lobby half the time, else there'll be a good chance you won't be able to start the lobby, or you'll just crash out altogether. I also noticed that the further away my teammates were to me location-wise, I seemed to get increased FPS issues. Now, this one could well be a coincidence since it makes absolutely no sense from a technical point of view, but I had no issues playing with 3 European teammates, slight issues with 1 American teammate, and pretty severe issues with 3 Americans. The gameplay I recorded is recorded at 60 FPS, but the gameplay I was actually viewing on my screen was probably dipping below 30 at times. Not sure if this is an actual bug or not. It could well just be coincidence, and it could just be a memory leak on my end, but it's one I think I should touch on anyway. And lastly, an incredibly annoying bug was that sometimes the mute audio button just didn't work on some teammates. So you'd usually get some right knob playing music or game audio through their £5 microphone, and there's just no way to make it stop your ears from bleeding. Now, that's all the bad stuff out of the way. Let's look at the positives. It feels like a Mass Effect 3 multiplayer did, which is the best possible way BioWare could have made this game. If it's not broken, don't fix it, and BioWare did exactly that, with a few improvements to boot as well. I've had so much fun playing, and honestly I can't wait to play more when the game actually comes out fully. The mobility is fantastic in my opinion, particularly with Vanguards. I think the jetpack and evasion is a great improvement to the normal sort of walking and sprinting we had in Mass Effect 3. And on that note, Vanguards actually work off host now, which is something that I'm very pleased to see fixed. It never happened in Mass Effect 3, but we're finally able to play Vanguards off host and not be completely useless. Reload cancelling and heavy melee are both gone, but you can reload while on your jetpack, so that's not really a massive problem for me. And heavy melee is a function which isn't a huge change anyway, since it was never really a staple thing for non-melee builds in Mass Effect 3. Moving on to the difficulty, it's kind of hard to say. A lot of things feel very weak right now, but that's likely because I'm using the default weapons without mods or consumables. Silver seems to be pretty comfortable with a strong squad, and I mean skill-wise, not weapon or character-wise, and I imagine gold will become very viable once I've got a few more characters and weapons under my belt. It's a lot more difficult than Mass Effect 3 though, that much I will say. I recall bronze being a total cakewalk there, and in this game, it's kind of difficult. I can't say that I struggled a lot, but it was definitely harder than I was anticipating. In my opinion, that's a really good thing. Mass Effect 3 did get really easy towards the end of the cycle, especially when people were maxing out their manifests. And even with the Platinum update, it was still pretty easy with the right kits. So in conclusion, I think the new multiplayer is headed in a very, very good direction. With free DLC and updates on the way, I think BioWare have really delivered on this one. There's a few technical teething problems, but nothing particularly game-breaking, and the stuff that is borderline game-breaking, I can easily see getting fixed in the near future, or there's bootleg fixes already. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some more aliens to headbutt. Thanks for watching, goodbye.